We're going to talk about shipping supplies and then shortcuts to reduce the cost of shipping particular items. Hello everybody, welcome back to Commonwealth Flipper. I just realized I don't have my hat on. That'll probably freak some of you out who watch this every once in a while. Maybe I'll do the intro here and then I'll put the hat on. All right, hey, we're gonna do a quick video about shipping, and this is really designed for new eBay resellers, but I think maybe a couple of you who've been doing it a little while, maybe not 20 years, but a little while, can learn a couple things from it. And on top of that, I'm gonna be able to learn from you guys some of the tricks maybe that you use that I haven't mentioned here. I love to learn. I'm learning things all the time. Some of the things I'm going to talk about here today are things that I haven't started doing until maybe the last 4 or 5 years, and I'm constantly adding new tricks to the trade. So we're going to talk about some of those. This is not designed for, save money by using pirate ship or save money by doing this. That's not what we're doing here. We're going to talk about shipping supplies and then shortcuts to reduce the cost of shipping particular items. So that's what we're looking at. And we're going to do a top 5 here. Top 5 tips and tricks, I guess we could call it that if you want to. And some of them are fairly obvious, but some of them might think, maybe that's not a bad idea. And if you know any beginners out there who are just starting, maybe you can point them in the direction of this video and make sure they check the comments for anything that we've missed. So thanks for joining us. We're going to start with number 5. Number 5 on the list, and again, I don't mean these to be simple, and some of them seem obvious, but there are people out there who really have these kind of questions, so I want to address them. So the first one is stop searching for shipping supplies. Now, I don't mean that like, hey, if you come across, some stuff that you could use for shipping, you're not going to use it. I don't mean don't ever go out and find a box that you're going to use. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is there are some great options to get a bunch of free shipping supplies. Not just from USPS, but you need to get your shipping supplies from USPS. Let me show you a couple things. Those are all USPS boxes up there, clearly. And those are not. But the boxes that I buy are going to be boxes that I use for first class shipping. I'm going to buy them. These are going to come to me for free, and we're going to use them. I am more than happy to use the boxes that they're going to give me for items I'm going to ship priority mail. Now, there are items that I'm not going to ship priority mail, and I need some big boxes. But I don't need anything smaller than, let me show you this, smaller than, say, a number 7. Matter of fact, I can take 2 number 7s and put them together. I could take 3 number 7s and put them together if I'm doing it priority mail, which I'm probably not. So you definitely do need some bigger boxes. So get them to come to you too. If you have the opportunity, if you have a place of employment, I happen to work at a school. So the custodial staff knows that I like big boxes, and they know I like packaging supplies. And so it just magically appears in my classroom at the end of the day, or sometime maybe even after I'm gone and they're there in the morning, they stack them up in the back in a corner and bubble wrap and all kinds of stuff that they find. Now, there's one particular custodian who actually knows what door I leave every day, and he's down there, and so when he finds these particular boxes that I like, he sets them by the door that I leave, and I go to the car. I just grab it as I go to the car. My mother-in-law saves certain things for me. Tell people around you, tell your family members, everybody's getting stuff from Amazon now. Tell them to keep their packaging supplies, not even necessarily their boxes, although they could. I don't like having a bunch of random boxes around that are this size. I don't want it because I can store everything here perfectly, and I don't have to have all these boxes different and mismatched and misshaped. Now, I'm not saying don't recycle. I would recycle. But I wouldn't go hunting for these things when they can come to you. Ask your friends, talk to people who have particular jobs that you would find that stuff. Find a business owner that go back to the same places, but don't go hunting around at every dumpster hoarding shipping supplies when you could get them to come to you. Something as simple as Christmas time. and asking people, or don't even ask, at Christmas time, just have a little bag to the side and keep all the tissue paper. You could use it as your packaging paper, which I use here. But I also use stuff to recycle. I mean, this is stuff people send me or we buy from eBay or from Amazon. I even take little pieces of cardboard from the boxes that I Frankenbox and use them later. So hopefully that gives you a couple of things. It does seem simple, but try to create systems where shipping supplies are coming to you and you're not, I don't want to say wasting time, but let's face it. If you spend an hour out looking for packaging material, I know I can make 30 bucks, 40 bucks an hour if I'm listing and shipping. And so I'm not going to gain $40 worth of shipping material out hunting for it. I mean, you might, but my time is much better spent actually doing the things that make me money as opposed to pinching pennies when you can get so much stuff for free. We're on to number 4, and this one is actually pretty simple. It is make wise use of the padded flat rate envelope and make wise use of the flat rate envelope for USPS. So it's not complicated, but there's just a couple little things for you new eBay resellers that you might want to know before we talk about it. All right, this one, of course, is cheaper. Now, I'm trying to remember here now that I'm doing this video, $6.92, 94 cents. I think this is $7.52. This is $6.94. I think that's what we've got there. There's a 58-cent difference between the two. And I know that because I did a video on the Commonwealth Flipper channel a long time ago, 4 months ago now. It says shipping jeans on eBay save 58 cents with flat rate. Now, let me tell you, this is actually really, really simple, and it shouldn't be complicated at all, but I see people do it wrong all the time. So something as simple as putting a pair of jeans in a padded flat rate envelope is really no big deal at all. I've even done this before just out of sheer convenience. It's just easy. You can put most jeans in this thing really, really easily and ship them out $7.52, and you're going to save money because, I mean, if you're sending a pair of jeans that's going to go at the 2-pound rate to California, I mean, I guess you could put them in a Region A box, but it's still going to cost you more money than putting them in this. Now, I probably just confused you with Region A. We're not going to talk about Region A and Region B. That's kind of a different animal, but this guy is an awesome thing. I use this, I don't know, I probably use it 2-3 times a week. If I'm doing jeans, I'll do it occasionally. If I have a really big pair of jeans, that makes it really difficult. Sometimes sweatshirts even can get up over a pound almost always, but can sometimes be fit into these. Now, a little trick for it, and I wasn't going to talk about this, but I'm going to do it really quick. It is on the video. Let me pull one of these out here. A little trick is to use one of these, use a poly bag, and put whatever it is that you have in it first, and then push it down, push all that air out, and get a little suction, and get it smaller, and then it slides in this bag. I've also seen people, I've never done this, but take a blow dryer and heat it up, and get a little bit more movement in it, and can fit things in it easier. So I find this method better. If you watch this video right here, you will find that I do that. See, I've got that poly bag right there, and then I've got that flat rate envelope right there, and that's what I'm going to do with those jeans. So that's pretty simple to do that, and this guy is perfect. Now, if you can put something in this and not have to use this, you're much better off. I mean, it's going to save you 58 cents. There are some tricks to the trade. I would encourage you to go watch that video that I just pointed out, and that'll help you. So now, one little thing I would not do. Hey, if it weighs under 16 ounces, don't use these two things. Don't do it. If you can package it up under 16 ounces, don't use these. It's going to be cheaper to send it first class. All right, we are on to number 3 here, and if you can't tell already, I'm wearing different clothes in every scene, so I'm filming this over a few different days just so I don't take too much time about one day, so I'm getting my shipping done. So hopefully that doesn't bother you too much. But the reason I picked up the camera today, right now, is because number 3 is get the right size box. Or if you have to, buy the right size box. It's probably going to make you money in the long run. So I picked up the camera because of a couple things that I'm actually shipping out right now that I wanted to talk about. And I'm going to turn the camera this way and let you know what I mean. All right, so the first one's pretty simple. So you can obviously go to USPS.com and get these boxes. But getting the right size box makes a big difference, and it saves you time. These are free, so go ahead and grab them. This is the medium tube. There's a pitching wedge in here. Most golf club pitching wedges fit in this box perfectly. If you get into the 2 irons, you know, or the 3 woods or the drivers, you're gonna have to Frankenbox 2 of these together if you're going party mail. And then I grab one of the small tubes down here and I add it to this box right here. And I have some videos showing myself doing that on this channel as well. And you can go to the shipping extra ones and you can see how to Frankenbox, but it's not that hard. You basically just make this tube longer by adding a tube to it. You just put it right around it. You cut the edge and put it right around it. And you'll see all these other boxes I have. So let me talk about these first. I buy these boxes. I never used to buy boxes. And once I started buying boxes, I couldn't believe how much time, money, and space it actually saved me. More time and space than money, but still, I believe that these boxes pay for themselves. They're not that expensive when you buy as many as I buy. And so if you're not doing a ton of volume, maybe it's not an option. But as you do a lot of volume, I think it's a good option. Even this box, which is an odd box, 7x4x2, I have cut ounces, you know, turned an 8-ounce item or a 9-ounce item into an 8-ounce item or 7-ounce item, and saved, you know, 40, 50, 80, 90 cents in shipping because I have the right size box that protects it enough, more than, say, a poly envelope. If it's an item that can't really go in a padded poly, it needs to go in a box, but it doesn't need a big box. You know, if you get a big box or if you use a lot of packaging, it takes time, it takes space, but it also takes weight, and it changes it. Even if it goes over, you know, those 4-ounce increments, it can cost you more money. And these things, if you buy, I mean, I buy these by the hundreds, 200s, 500 sometimes. So I'm not paying very much for these, you know, 20 cents or so. Same thing here. I just packaged a tie today. And you don't really want to put a tie flat in a poly bag and have it get all folded and creased. You want to roll them up. Well, if you can roll up a tie, you know, you could send them for 3 ounces in a poly bag, no problem. But some people complain. If you can roll one up and put it in a 4x4x4 and it still stays under 4 ounces. If you have the wrong size box, you know, one box you just picked up or something, it could end up costing you by going to that 5th ounce. So love this box. I use it all the time. 5x5x5, 8x6x4. This is what I ship my hats in most of the time, unless it's a really nice, expensive hat that's formed well. And then I might find a different box because this kind of crushes it just a little bit. Actually, Supply Hut has a 8x6x4 that's a little lighter than this one. But even this one is going to be under 8 ounces. Most hats are going to ship out under 8 ounces. Before I did this, I would use whatever box I had around, and sometimes the boxes were too big. They weighed too much. I had to put stuff in them to make sure the box didn't collapse, and it would end up being 9 ounces, and it would cost me, you know, 75 cents, where this box doesn't cost me that much. So I'm actually saving money sometimes shipping these. Now, if you can get boxes that are free like this, by all means, get them. But man, look at the organization here and the use of space as opposed to having tons and tons of boxes and taking the time to find all this stuff. I just think it is well worth spending money on these boxes. Here's a good example. Now, this one was free. This one was a free box, and it is, you know, corrugated. It's double. It's a double box. You can see this is a really nice box. I did not pay for this. It just happened to be a box that I had, and I have this item right here that needs shipped. I just happen to have the right size box. If I didn't have that box, I would have bought it. I know, preferably I could have got it for free. But when you're shipping a huge item, don't want to mess it up. I don't want to crush that pedal. So this is the type of item you need a very thick, sturdy box. And if you just don't have one, and you use whatever box you have that might be the wrong size, it might be too big, and it's going to cost you money because of dimensional shipping. If it's too weak, even if it's the right size, it's going to cost you money possibly in a return because of damage. You need to find the right size box or to be able to cut it down and Frankenbox it and make it the right size box. think I have a video about both. I might even add some video into this at the end, and you'll know what I'm talking about. So this happened to be the perfect size box. It gives enough space here and here. Not quite so much at the base. Maybe there is. There's more space over there. But plenty of space here and here. If I did not have this box, I would have gone and spent, you know, the $1.50, whatever it is, at Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart, to get a good sturdy box and to ship this item, because this sold for 180 bucks. So get the right size box. It will save you money in the end. It's important to get all of the priority mail boxes, all of the sizes. You'll see the number 7's my favorite because you can Frankenbox it and make it into a huge box. Have tons of options. Here's a 4x4x4. It's corrugated, it's sturdier. It's essentially double-sided in a couple spots once it's all put together. Get the right size boxes. At the beginning, don't buy boxes, but once you get the volume up, it is well worth the money. All right, now we have number 4, and this one is so simple and so obvious, but some people don't do it. So it's going to seem a little ridiculous because I'm using a tiny box to demonstrate it, and I might have a video somewhere that I'll attach right here, and you can actually take a look at it like as it's working. But let me show you here as an example using this little box. So this is called cutting weight. So let's just make some assumptions here. Let's say this is a really big box, or maybe even it's just twice as big. And we weigh this thing before. So you're packaging up an item. Most people package it up, they tape it up, and then they weigh it when they're getting ready to ship it. So let's just say that this thing is, well, let's say it weighs 1 pound. That's 1 ounce. But let's say it weighs 1 pound, 1 ounce. One easy way to do, if it's already all taped up and everything, you're going to have to untape it, and I do that occasionally. But before you tape it, once it's all packaged up, ready to go, before you tape it, weigh it. If it's within 1 ounce or 2 ounces maybe of the going under the next pound, or in this case, we're talking about maybe it's 4.2 ounces. And you can shave 0.2 ounces off by taking a tiny bit of the packaging off, or, and here's the other one, and it depends on what the item is, take these little flaps and cut half of this flap off and half of this flap off, and then fold them back, you know, so we've got, you know, nothing here essentially, and then put these here, and then do it to this side. And it depends on what the item is, whether or not it's going to work. But I would say maybe every 15 to 20 items, I can cut off of the box itself just enough weight to get it to go under and save a little bit of money. Even on these big boxes, I do it often on the number 7 box. If it weighs, you know, 2 pounds, 3 ounces or whatever, I can cut that off of the side flaps most of the time and get it under. So that's a pretty easy trick that I can employ and save, you know, a few bucks, maybe every day actually. Maybe not every day, a few bucks every couple of days. All right, I think I said number 4 on that last one. That was number 2. Here comes number 1, and I don't want to sound condescending because this is fairly obvious, but I have a P.O. box, and a lot of people send me things, and the stuff that comes into me from resellers shocks me sometimes. I get things that are like 8 ounces, 9 ounces, 10 ounces, and they're coming in flat rate envelopes, they're coming in boxes, they're coming in all kinds of things, and they're going over the weight. Or they're not over the weight at all, and they're not shipped in a poly bag. You don't need to have a box to protect, say, a license plate. You don't need to have a box for a pair of jeans. You don't need to have a box for about half the stuff that I receive things in boxes for. And like I said, I don't want to sound condescending, but use poly bags. I went probably 3 years on eBay without using poly bags. And then I went another 2 years without using bubble poly bags. And that was probably one of my biggest mistakes and cost me a ton of money for a long time. So let me show you all the poly bags that I have. And as a matter of fact, this isn't even all of them. All right, so starting down here, we have the smallest one. This is obviously going to be cheaper than this one. This is obviously going to be cheaper than this one. And this one's going to be cheaper than this one. But this is a little bit bigger. It's also blue, which is cool. I usually send the Enaman out in that. This one's a little cheaper than this one, of course. And it kind of goes down. Matter of fact, eBay brands these and I get some free with my store coupon. And then eBay brands these and I get some free with that coupon as well sometimes. So it just depends I usually buy these. This time I bought this just to give it a shot to see what could fit in there. So these are actually free, sort of. But I have tons of sizes, and I go up in poly. But you know, there's a difference in weight between this and this. I know it seems ridiculous, but there are so many things that you can ship out in these poly bags that are perfectly fine. I mean, even shoes, and it depends on which shoe, obviously. But there are some that I ship out in a poly bag, although you might not be able to keep it under 16 ounces. So using these bags are key. This isn't even all that I have. I have some that are literally twice the size of this. I have some giant black contractor bags that I use as a humongous poly bag. I have one that's in between these two sizes. I have one that's literally twice that size. Then I have a couple specialty ones that I use for a couple different things. Get poly bags and use them often. It is my #1 tip to save money on shipping. Just want to say thanks for joining me here. And like I said, I didn't want to sound condescending at all. Some of this stuff is obvious, and this is even a lot of beginners know these things, but you just never know. And my experience receiving things lately, I've been shocked. And I kind of want to put some things out there for beginners that might seem obvious to us that have been doing it a while, but they don't quite realize it yet or grasp it. And hopefully some of these things can help. And there are many, many other things. You know, buying tape in bulk, for instance, buying bubble wrap in bulk. Those kind of things can save you money as well. So anyway, thanks for joining me. And you put some tips in the comments below, and maybe we can learn a few more things. Thanks.